What does it really take to stay consistent every single day? Have you ever felt like no matter how hard you try, you just can't keep up the momentum? Maybe you've tried to stick to a routine, but life keeps pulling you off track. What's the secret to staying consistent, even when motivation fades? In today's video, we're diving deep into the real key to consistency, a day-by-day formula that doesn't rely on fleeting motivation or willpower. It's about developing habits that truly work for you and making small, steady actions a part of your everyday life. This isn't about magic tricks or quick fixes. It's about understanding the power of persistence, discipline, and commitment. So if you're tired of starting and stopping, if you're ready to take control and build real momentum, stay with me. We're going to uncover the simple yet powerful steps that will make consistency a part of your everyday reality. Number 1. Build consistency by showing up every single day. The real key to consistency is not some big secret. It's not locked away in a book that only the lucky ones find. It's not given to you by someone else. It's something you decide for yourself. It is showing up every single day, day after day, whether you feel like it or not, whether the mood is right or not, whether it is sunny or raining, whether you are excited or tired, whether you feel like you're winning or you feel like you're stuck. You build consistency by showing up every single day. And when I say show up, I mean really show up. I'm not talking about just being physically there. I'm talking about mentally there, emotionally there, being all there, being present, being committed to the day, giving it an honest effort. That is where consistency is born. Some people wait for the right day. They wait for inspiration. They wait for things to line up. They wait for the perfect time. The truth is, if you wait for the perfect time, you'll be waiting all your life, because it never shows up the way you want it to. If you only show up when you feel good, when the stars align, when everything is easy, you will never build the kind of consistency that makes a real difference. The days when it's hard, the days when you don't feel like it, the days when you are tired, those are the days that matter the most. Those are the days that test you. Those are the days that count. What does it mean to show up? It means you follow through. It means you do the work you said you would do. It means you stick to the habit you promised yourself you'd build. It means you get up, you face the day, you give it what you've got. It doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be impressive. It just has to be honest. Consistency isn't about big performances. It's about honest, repeated action, over and over again, day after day. I used to think that successful people had some special gift, some kind of talent that the rest of us didn't get. But the more I paid attention, the more I realized it wasn't talent. It wasn't luck. It wasn't being in the right place at the right time. It was showing up every day, doing the work, staying with it, even when it got boring, even when it got hard, even when nobody was clapping for them, even when it felt like nothing was changing. Showing up builds trust, not just with others, but with yourself. That is the most powerful kind of trust you can build. Because when you start showing up for yourself every single day, you start believing that you can count on yourself, that you will do what you said you would do, that you will be there, that you will not break your promises to yourself. And once you start to believe that, you get stronger, you get clearer, you get steadier. People can feel it. You can feel it. That quiet confidence that comes from knowing you are doing what you are supposed to be doing. Now, I am not saying it is always easy. Some days you won't feel like it. That's normal. Some days you'll be tired. That's normal. Some days you'll want to quit. That's normal, too. But here is the key. Those feelings don't have to decide for you. You can still show up, even with tired eyes, even with doubts, even with fear, even with uncertainty. You can still get up and put one foot in front of the other. And that is where the strength comes from. Not from feeling great all the time, but from showing up even when you don't. The power is in the small things done daily. Don't underestimate them. People want to change their lives overnight. They want to change everything in one shot. They want instant results. But that is not how it works. The person who changes their life is the person who changes one thing and sticks with it. One thing done today. One thing done tomorrow. One thing done the day after. And on and on. That's how you create consistency. That's how you create lasting change. I remember when I first started to work on myself seriously. I wasn't sure if it was working. I kept showing up, but I didn't feel different. I didn't see results right away, but I stayed with it. I kept showing up. After a while, things started to shift. I started to notice small changes, and those small changes gave me hope. They gave me momentum. I began to feel stronger, more sure of myself, more confident. But it didn't come all at once. It came day by day. Consistency is like building a wall, not with giant bricks, but with small ones. One brick today, one brick tomorrow, another brick the next day. Some days you'll put two, some days you'll barely manage one, but you're still building, you're still showing up. And when you keep going long enough, you'll turn around one day and you'll see a strong wall behind you. Not because you worked like crazy one day, but because you worked steadily over time. I have seen people try to build everything in 1 week and burn out. I have seen people try to go from 0 to 100 in 1 month and then give up. And I have seen people just take one simple step every day and quietly win. Not flashy, not loud, just steady. That is what consistency looks like. You don't have to make big moves every single day. You just have to make honest moves, small honest actions. If you commit to one thing today and you follow through, you are consistent. And if you do it again tomorrow, you are still consistent. And if you keep doing that, day after day, you will become a person who is reliable, who is disciplined, who is strong. What happens when you build that? You begin to stand out. You begin to separate yourself from the crowd. Not because you are the most talented, not because you are the smartest, but because you are the one who showed up. People trust you. They know you are serious. They know you can be counted on. They know you are dependable. And most importantly, you know it yourself. That is how you gain self-respect. You cannot buy it. You cannot borrow it. You cannot fake it. You have to earn it. And you earn it by showing up, one day at a time. You earn it by following through when it would be easier to quit. You earn it by doing the right thing, even when no one is watching. That is how you build the kind of strength that nobody can take from you. Some people say, I'll show up when I feel ready. But the truth is, you'll never really feel ready. And you don't have to feel ready. You just have to show up. And once you do, you'll see that you had more in you than you thought. You'll see that you are stronger than you believed. You'll see that you can handle more than you imagined. When you learn to show up every single day, you take charge of your life. You are no longer at the mercy of your moods or circumstances. You stop making excuses. You stop waiting for someone to come and save you. You stop hoping for life to suddenly get easier. You step up. You take responsibility. You make the decision. And that is when things begin to change. You don't have to be the best to start. You don't have to have it all figured out. You just have to start. You just have to decide. You just have to show up today. Not next week. Not next month. Today. And tomorrow. And the next day. And if you keep showing up, one day you will look back and you won't even recognize the old version of yourself. Because you stayed with it. Because you didn't quit. Because you built something real. So if you are sitting there wondering how to change your life, wondering how to become more consistent, wondering how to get better, I'll tell you how. Start today. Show up today. Don't wait for perfect conditions. Don't wait to feel like it. Don't wait for permission. Show up today. And if you wake up tomorrow, show up again. And the next day, do it again. You will be amazed by how far you can go. If you just make that one decision, to show up every day, not once in a while, not when it feels good, every day. It may not seem like much at first, but over time it will change everything. The question is simple. Will you show up today? Will you give it what you have? Will you stick with it? That is the real key to consistency. And if you do it, you will be glad you did.
Number 2, create a simple routine you can actually stick to. If you want to change your life, if you want to be consistent, if you want to become the person you know you can become, you have to create a simple routine you can actually stick to. Not a complicated one. Not one that sounds impressive, but falls apart after a week. Not one you copy from someone else who lives a completely different life. Your own simple routine designed for you that you can keep doing day after day, no matter what. That is where the real power is. Most people make the mistake of building routines they can't handle. They fill their schedule with too much. They try to do everything at once. They go from doing nothing to trying to do 20 things every day, and they wonder why it doesn't last. The reason it doesn't last is simple. It's not built for real life. Real life is messy. Real life gets busy. Real life brings challenges. Real life will surprise you. And if your routine is too heavy,
You'll drop it the moment life hits you with something unexpected. So the question is, what kind of routine can you actually live with? What kind of routine will work when you're tired? What kind of routine will work when you're not motivated? What kind of routine will work when the day doesn't go your way? That is the kind of routine you need. One that is so simple, so clear, and so doable that you can follow it when things are good and when things are tough. You don't need a routine that looks impressive on paper. You need a routine that gets you results because you can stick to it long enough for it to actually work. The purpose of a routine is not to overwhelm you. It's to give you structure. It's to give you direction. It's to help you do the right things at the right time, again and again, until it starts to build into something bigger. I've seen people get excited about change. They buy the planner, they write down 100 tasks. They color code everything. They make big plans. And then what happens? They do it for a few days, and then it's all gone. Why? Because they didn't build it for real life. They built it for their best day, not for their average day, not for their tough day, not for the days when things go wrong. If you want to make it, you need something that works even on your worst day. A simple routine does not mean an easy life. It means you are giving yourself the chance to do what needs to be done without quitting halfway. The goal is not to impress anyone. The goal is to stick with it, to do it every day, to make it part of you, to make it automatic. I'll give you something real. The best routine you can create is one that fits inside your day without destroying you. If you work all day, then don't try to create a routine that takes you 5 hours to complete. It won't last. If you're raising kids, running a business, or handling a busy schedule, then create a routine that works within those limits. Be honest about your time. Be honest about your energy. Start where you are, not where you wish you were. Some people think they need to do 100 things every day to be successful. That's not true. You only need to do the right things every day, even just a few right things. Done regularly, with honesty, and without skipping, those few things will change your life. And the truth is, it's not the routine itself that changes you. It's who you become by sticking to it. It's the discipline. It's the focus. It's the commitment. That's where the real reward is. When you create a simple routine, you don't just organize your day. You organize your mind. You remove the confusion. You stop guessing what to do next. You wake up and you already know what the day looks like. You don't waste time deciding. You just do. And that saves energy. That builds momentum. That keeps you moving forward, even when you don't feel like it. And yes, there will be days you don't feel like it. Days when you're tired. Days when you're tired. Days when you're frustrated. Days when you don't see results. Those are the days when most people throw the whole routine away. But if you made it simple enough, you can still do it. Even if you're at 50%. Even if you're at 30%. Even if you're at 10%. You can still do something. And doing something is always better than doing nothing. That is why I always tell people, make your routine so simple that you almost can't say no to it. Make it so simple that it feels silly to skip it. If you can make that kind of routine, you will stick to it. You will keep going. And the more you keep going, the stronger you will become. When I first started, my routine wasn't big. It wasn't fancy. It wasn't complicated. It was just a few simple things. But I did them every single day. And because I did them every single day, they started to matter. They started to shape me. They started to give me confidence. And that's what you need. Not more pressure, not more overwhelm, but more confidence. And confidence comes from doing what you said you would do. It's not about copying someone else's routine. Your life is different. Your challenges are different. Your challenges are different. Your schedule is different. Make one that fits you. Make one that feels real to you. And once you have it, stick to it. You don't need a new plan every week. You don't need to change everything every time you hear a new idea. Stay with the basics. Stay with what works. Keep it simple. For some people, it could be as simple as waking up at the same time every day, reading for 20 minutes, writing down 3 things you are grateful for, moving your body for 30 minutes. That's it. Nothing fancy. Nothing that needs applause. Just simple actions that you can keep doing, no matter how busy life gets. And here's what happens. Over time, those simple actions start stacking up. They become part of you. You don't have to think about them anymore. You don't have to push yourself every time. They become habits. They become part of your identity. And that's when things start to change. Most people fail because they are too hard on themselves in the beginning. They think they have to do everything all at once. They try to prove something, but you don't have to prove anything to anyone. You just have to be steady. Consistency beats intensity. When it comes to routines, the person who shows up every day with small actions will always beat the person who shows up once in a while with big actions. And I'll tell you something else. A simple routine will teach you more about yourself than you think. It will show you where you make excuses. It will show you when you try to take the easy way out. It will show you when you're serious and when you're not. That is why it matters. It's not just about what you do. It's about who you become by doing it. Some people are always looking for the next thing, the next big idea, the next secret. But I'll tell you straight, the secret is doing the simple things you already know you should be doing, and doing them long enough for them to make a difference. That's the real secret. It's simple, but it's not easy. It takes discipline. It takes patience. It takes faith. You might not see the change right away. That's normal. Don't expect fireworks. Expect progress. Expect growth. Expect growth. Expect small wins. And trust that small wins add up. They always do. If you are willing to stay with it, day after day, month after month, you will look back and realize just how much you've changed. And don't forget this. Life will test you. Life will challenge you. Life will distract you. That's guaranteed. But if you made your routine simple enough, you will still be able to do it. And if you keep doing it, you'll stay on track. Even when the world around you gets chaotic, you don't have to be perfect. You just have to be consistent. And the best way to be consistent is to make sure you are not trying to do too much too soon. Simple is powerful. Simple is strong. Simple works. So if you really want to build consistency, if you really want to get better, if you really want to change your life, create a simple routine you can actually stick to. One that fits your real life. One that you can do even on the hard days. One that helps you grow step by step. And once you have it, protect it. Make it part of you. Don't negotiate with it. Don't keep changing it. Stick to it. It won't feel exciting every day. It won't always feel fun. But it will work. And you will become the kind of person who can trust themselves, who can rely on themselves, who knows that no matter what happens, you will keep showing up. And you will keep doing what needs to be done. And that is how real change happens. That is how confidence grows. That is how you build the life you want. One simple, honest, steady day at a time.
Number 3, set clear goals that you review every morning. If you want to live a meaningful life and make real progress, you need to set clear goals, and you need to review them every morning. Not just once a year, not just when you feel lost, but every single morning. Every day you wake up, you need to remind yourself where you are going, because if you don't, life will pull you in every direction. People will steal your time. Circumstances will distract you. The day will start taking you places you never planned to go. And before you know it, weeks go by, months go by, years go by, and you are no closer to where you want to be. You cannot afford to live like that. No one can. When I was young, I didn't have goals. I was just drifting. I thought working hard would be enough. I thought being a good person would be enough. But I was wrong. You need a target. You need something to aim at. Without goals, you don't know where you are going. And if you don't know where you are going, how will you ever get there? Goals give you direction. They give you purpose. They give you energy when you are tired. They help you say no to things you should say no to. Goals are not just something nice to have. They are necessary. But not just any goals. Clear goals. Real goals. Goals you can see. Goals you can describe. Goals you can write down. Vague goals don't work. Goals like I want to be better. I want to make more money. I want to be happy. Those don't work. They have no shape. They have no weight. They don't move you. You need goals you can touch.
Goals you can measure. Goals that make you sit up straight when you read them. When you write down your goals clearly, something happens inside you. You start to see yourself in the picture. You start to imagine what it would feel like to actually have them. And that feeling is what starts to drive you. That is where the energy comes from. People often ask, how do you stay motivated? How do you keep going? The answer is simple. I look at my goals every morning, before the world gets to me, before the news gets to me, before the phone starts ringing, before I open my door to the day, I open my notebook to my goals. Some people say, well, Jim, I have my goals in my head, and I always tell them, that's not enough. If they are only in your head, they are not serious. If they are only in your head, they will fade the moment life gets busy. You need to write them down. You need to see them in your own handwriting. You need to be able to read them out loud. You need to make them real. And you don't just write them down once and forget them. You read them every morning, every single morning. It only takes a few minutes, but those minutes will shape your entire day. It will change how you walk out of the door. It will change how you answer the phone. It will change how you treat people. It will change how you use your time. Because now you know where you are going. You are not lost. You are not guessing. You are moving with purpose. I remember the first time I wrote down my goals properly. It was simple. I wanted to have more money in the bank. I wanted to improve my health. I wanted to be a better father. I wanted to travel. I wrote them down clearly. I put numbers next to them. I made them specific. And I started looking at them every day. And you know what happened? I started to believe them. I started to believe that maybe I could. Maybe it was possible. Maybe if I kept at it, I could make it happen. And that belief is worth more than gold. Because once you believe, you start to act. You start to make different choices. You stop wasting time. You start saying no to distractions. You start saying yes to the things that matter. And that is what moves you forward. Not the big leaps. Not the grand gestures. But the simple daily actions fueled by the power of clear goals. Some people think they don't have time to review their goals every morning. But if you don't have time to spend 5 minutes reviewing your goals, you don't have a life. You are just reacting. You are just surviving. You are being pushed around by circumstances. You have to take back control. 5 minutes. Just 5 minutes every morning to remind yourself who you are, what you want, and where you are going. It will make all the difference. Your goals should make you feel something. They should excite you. They should scare you a little. They should make you think, if I could really do this, my life would never be the same. If your goals don't do that, then you haven't dug deep enough. You are still playing small. You need to go deeper. What do you really want? What would make you proud? What would make your family proud? What would make you smile every time you think about it? Write that down. Make it clear. And when you review your goals, don't just read them like a list. Feel them. Picture them. Imagine them. See yourself living them. Taste it. Smell it. Feel the emotions that come with it. That is what makes it powerful. That is what drives you. And when you step into the world after that, you will walk differently. You will talk differently. You will behave differently. Because now you are a person with a destination. You are not wandering. You are on a mission. Reviewing your goals every morning is how you stay connected to your dreams. Because life will try to disconnect you. The noise, the problems, the distractions, they will try to make you forget. But if you start your day by looking at your goals, you anchor yourself. You hold your ground. You keep your eyes on the road. And when others drift, you will keep moving forward. Don't fall for the idea that you can do this once in a while. It won't work. It's not a sometime thing. It's an everyday thing. Every morning. Whether you feel like it or not. Whether you are excited or tired. Whether you are ahead or behind. Review them. Keep them fresh. Keep them alive. Because if you don't, they will fade. And when they fade, you will fade with them. And one more thing. Your goals will change. They will grow. They will evolve. That's good. That means you are growing. But don't wait until they are perfect to get started. Start with what you have. Write them down. Read them. Live with them. And as you move forward, adjust them. Make them clearer. Make them sharper. But always keep them close.
I have seen people change their entire lives by doing this one simple thing, by reviewing their goals every morning. I have seen people go from lost and hopeless to focused and confident, from broke to wealthy, from unhealthy to full of life, from confused to crystal clear, not because they found some secret formula, not because they got lucky, but because they decided to take their goals seriously. Every single day, I believe if you do this, you will become unstoppable. Not because life gets easier, it won't, but because you will get stronger, because you will know where you are going, because you will stop wasting time, because you will stop letting small problems knock you off track, and you will start living a life you can be proud of. You don't need anyone's permission to do this. You don't need perfect conditions. You don't need a fancy system. You just need to sit down, get honest with yourself, and write down what you really want. And every morning, before you do anything else, review it, feel it, connect to it, and then go out into the world and act like it's possible. And if you do that, day after day, I promise you will start to see changes. They might be small at first, but they will come. And if you keep going, you will be amazed at where you end up. Not because of luck, not because of chance, but because you made a decision. You set clear goals, and you reviewed them every single morning. That is how you win. That is how you change. That is how you build a life worth living.
Number 4. Start small and increase only when you can handle more. If you really want to build something that lasts, you have to be willing to start small. It is easy to get excited. It is easy to dream big. Everyone talks about big dreams. Everyone wants to make a big move. But the reality is, most people don't fail because their dreams are too small. They fail because they try to do too much too soon. They overload themselves. They expect too much too fast. And when it doesn't work, when it gets too heavy, they quit. And it's a tragedy. Because it was never about talent or potential. It was about not understanding how to build properly. I've met so many people who tell me they want to change their life. They want to improve. They want to grow. And the first thing they do is they take on too much. They write down a long list of new habits, new tasks, new rules. They get excited. They feel powerful for a few days. But then life hits. Stress shows up. They get tired. They get overwhelmed. And it all falls apart. I know that feeling because I've been there too. I've made that mistake. But what I learned is this: success comes from starting small, very small. Smaller than you think. Smaller than feels impressive. Small enough that you can stick with it. No matter what, it is not about how much you can handle when you are feeling good. It is about what you can still handle when you are tired, when you are stressed, when life is not going your way. That is the test. And if you build it too big too soon, you will fail that test. Start with one simple thing. 1, not 10, not 5, just 1. If you want to get fit, don't try to run 5 miles on day 1. Don't sign up for every class at the gym. Don't empty your fridge and try to change every single meal overnight. Start with 1 walk around the block. Start by drinking more water today. Start by showing up. Small, manageable. Something you can actually do, even on your worst day. People don't like to start small, because small feels like it doesn't matter. But that's the trick. It does matter. It matters more than you know. Small is how you begin. Small is how you build trust with yourself. Small is how you prove to yourself that you will show up, even when you don't feel like it. And once you do that, once you prove you can show up for one small thing, then you can add more. I started with small goals, not because I didn't have big dreams. I had big dreams. But I understood that big dreams without a solid foundation are just wishes. I started with little things I could control. I started with simple routines. I started by showing up for the basics. And when I could handle that without breaking, I added more, slowly, carefully. And every time I added more, I asked myself one question. Can I really handle this? Not just today, but every day. Not just when I am full of energy, but when I am tired, when I am busy, when I am frustrated. Because if you only build for your best days, you will fail on your worst days. And you will have worse days. Everyone does. You can't avoid them, but you can prepare for them. When you build slowly, when you start small, you are preparing for those bad days. You are building something you can actually sustain. And sustainability is the secret. It is not how much you can do for 1 week. It is what you can still do after 6 months, after a year, after 5 years. That is what matters. Consistency over time is more valuable than intensity for a few days. People will tell you to go all in, to give it everything you have from day one. That sounds good. It feels inspiring, but it is not smart. It is not how real change happens. Real change happens when you do what you can handle, and then you keep doing it until you can handle more, and only then do you add more. That is how you grow without falling apart. I'll tell you why this is so important. Every time you show up for something small, you build confidence. You build a little more self-respect. You say to yourself, I did it again today. And that adds up. That is how you change who you are. That is how you go from someone who gives up to someone who sticks with it. And once you become that kind of person, you can handle more. You are ready to increase. Not because you are forcing it, but because you are strong enough for it. That is how I did it. That is how every successful person I know did it. They started small. They built trust with themselves. They kept showing up. And when they were ready, they took on more. And when that became normal, they added again. Slowly, thoughtfully, step by step. And when you live this way, you stop feeling overwhelmed. You stop quitting. You stop losing faith. Because you are not asking too much of yourself too soon. You are respecting where you are. And you are trusting that if you keep going, you will get stronger. You will be able to handle more. You will grow. Number 5. Focus fully on today without worrying about tomorrow. You know, one of the most important lessons I ever learned in my life was the power of giving full attention to today. Not tomorrow, not next week, not someday, today. And I will tell you, most people spend too much time living somewhere else. They are either living in the past, regretting what happened, or they are living in the future, worrying about what might happen. They forget that all we really have is today. This day, this moment. Right now, when you wake up in the morning, you don't have to solve the problems of next month. You don't have to figure out the next 5 years. What you have is today. And the question is simple. What will you do with it? What will you do with the few hours you have been given today? Not what might happen tomorrow. Not what could go wrong next week. Not what someone said years ago. Today. That's where the power is. That's where your life happens. I used to be guilty of worrying about everything ahead of me. I thought I had to know how the next 5 years would go before I could even start. I thought I had to have it all figured out. But the truth is, you don't need to know the whole path. You just need to know what to do today. One good day, one honest effort, one focused day. And then if you get up tomorrow, you give that one your full attention too. When you learn to live this way, everything changes. You stop being paralyzed by fear. You stop carrying the weight of 1,000 worries that don't even belong to you yet. You get lighter. You breathe easier, because all you have to deal with is today's load. And the truth is, today's load is usually manageable. It is only when you pile on yesterday's regrets and tomorrow's fears that it starts to feel too heavy. Every day I remind myself, today is all I have. I can plan for tomorrow, but I must work on today. I can have goals, but I can only take action today. I cannot solve next week's challenges today, but I can do my best with what's right in front of me. That is real wisdom. That is how you stay strong, focused, and sane. I have seen people ruin their lives by worrying so much about the future that they never take action today. They keep waiting for the perfect time. They keep waiting for all the answers. They keep waiting for some guarantee that everything will work out. And while they wait, today slips away. And then another today. And another. Until they look back and realize they have wasted months, years, sometimes decades waiting and worrying instead of working. What a shame to miss out on life like that. What a shame to waste the gift of today because you are busy fearing tomorrow. You don't have to be one of those people. You can decide right now that you will give today your full attention, that you will make the most of this day, no matter how small the task may seem. Because when you do this day well, tomorrow will take care of itself. I used to worry about things that never even happened. I used to stress about things that were out of my hands. And I realized, not only was I not helping myself, but I was hurting myself. I was draining my energy. I was stealing joy from the present moment. And worse, I was missing out on real progress, because I wasn't fully present. I was too busy living in a tomorrow that hadn't even arrived. You see, worry will never fix tomorrow. It will only rob you of today. But action, focus, commitment, those things make today powerful. And when you stack up enough good todays, you will be amazed at what your life becomes. A great life is nothing more than a series of well-lived days. When you wake up tomorrow, you don't need to have the whole world figured out. You don't need to control every outcome. All you need to do is ask yourself, what is one good thing I can do today? Can I make one good decision? Can I follow through on one good habit? Can I treat someone kindly? Can I give an honest effort? That is enough. That is more than enough. If you will do this day after day, something beautiful will happen. You will start to trust yourself again. You will feel stronger. You will stop worrying so much because you will see that you are capable. You will see that you are not helpless. You will see that you can handle life one day at a time. And isn't that what we are really after? Not perfection. Just the confidence to know that whatever today brings, you can handle it. Most people lose this confidence because they try to handle too much at once. They look too far ahead. They panic about things they don't even need to solve yet. And it robs them of their strength. They forget that life comes one day at a time, one challenge at a time, one opportunity at a time, one decision at a time. I never met a successful person who said, I waited until everything was perfect. No, the ones who made it, the ones who built something meaningful, were the ones who showed up fully for today. They got up, they worked, they did their best. And when they woke up the next day, they did it again, over and over. And before they knew it, their life looked completely different. You don't need magic. You don't need someone to come rescue you. What you need is the courage to fully show up today. Not distracted, not overwhelmed, not worried about next month. Just today. That is where the power is.
Number 6. Track your daily actions to see your real progress. You know, one of the best things you can do for yourself is to start tracking your daily actions. Now, I'm not talking about a big, complicated system. I'm not talking about pages and pages of reports. I'm talking about something very simple, but extremely powerful. And you'll find that the simple things, if you'll just take them seriously, can change your life. I've watched people work hard for years. They show up, they stay busy, they put in the hours, but somehow they don't feel like they're really getting ahead. And it's not because they're not working. It's not because they don't care. It's because they don't really know where they stand. They don't see the progress they're making. They don't have a clear picture of what's working and what isn't. And when you don't know where you stand, you get frustrated. You start thinking you're spinning your wheels, even when you're actually making progress, but you just can't see it. That's why tracking your actions every single day is one of the most valuable habits you can ever develop. Just stop for a second and think about it. How would you feel if you could actually see your own growth? If you could open a notebook or look at a simple chart and say, look at that. I'm actually doing it. I'm improving. I'm telling you, it does something to you. It gives you new energy. It gives you confidence. It lifts your spirit because you can finally see what before was invisible. People often think success is just about working harder or getting luckier or waiting for the right time. No, success is about knowing what you are doing, day by day, step by step. It's about facing the truth about your own habits, your own choices, and the actions you take. And you can only do that if you keep track. Most people don't like to look too closely at what they are actually doing. They prefer to guess or just go with how they feel. But feelings can fool you. You can feel like you're doing a lot when you're not. Or you can feel like you're not doing enough when you're doing just fine. Feelings change with the weather. They change depending on how much sleep you got last night, or whether someone was nice to you this morning. But the facts, when you put them down on paper, don't lie. They show you the reality. I'll tell you what happens when you start tracking. You start seeing patterns.
you start realizing what you've been doing right and what you've been neglecting. And this is important. It's not just about seeing what you did wrong. It's about celebrating what you're already doing right. Because if you don't notice your small wins, you'll always feel like you're behind. And you'll never build momentum without those small wins. Imagine you start writing down every day the things you said you would do. You said you'd read for 30 minutes, and you did. You said you'd make those 2 extra phone calls, and you did. You said you'd go for a walk, and you did. Now you have it written down. You have proof. And when you look at it at the end of the week, you realize you did more than you thought. You stayed on track more than you gave yourself credit for. And that, my friend, gives you the courage to keep going. But here's another thing about tracking. It also shows you where you're falling short. And that's not a bad thing. It's one of the best gifts you could ever give yourself. Because you don't have to guess anymore. You don't have to sit around wondering why things aren't working. You can see it right there on the paper. You missed a few steps. You skipped a few days. And now you know exactly what to fix. It's not about beating yourself up. It's about clarity. That's all. Just knowing that alone will move you forward faster than anything else. When you know what to fix, you don't waste energy blaming the economy, or your circumstances, or your background. You don't get stuck in the habit of complaining, or making excuses. You take responsibility. And responsibility gives you power. Power to change. When I first started doing this, it shocked me. I thought I was working harder than anyone. But when I wrote it down, I realized I had days where I was just busy, but not productive. I had days where I avoided the tough calls. I had days where I gave in to distractions. But because I wrote it down, I couldn't hide from it. And I'm glad I couldn't hide. Because that's when I started making real changes. One of the greatest feelings in the world is watching your own numbers go up. Watching your own results get better. Little by little. When you track, you don't have to hope you're improving. You know you are. You don't have to wonder if you're on the right path. You see it. And once you start seeing it, you'll get hooked. You'll want to keep it going. And that's where the magic happens. You don't need a fancy system. Just a notebook will do. Or a simple app if you like. The tool doesn't matter. What matters is that you make it a habit. Every night before you go to bed, take a few minutes to reflect. What did you do today? Did you follow through? Did you do what you said you would? Write it down. Just a few honest lines. That's all it takes. You will be amazed how this one habit will change your life. It will make you more honest with yourself. It will help you stay focused. It will help you see that success isn't built in one day. It's built little by little, day by day. But you'll never know if you're building anything if you don't keep track. And I'll tell you something else. This habit will also help you deal with the tough days. Because there will be tough days. There will be days when you feel like you're getting nowhere. Days when you wonder if it's even worth it. But if you have your records, if you've been keeping track, you can go back and see how far you've come. You'll realize you've already climbed a good part of the mountain. And that will give you the strength to keep climbing. Without tracking, you lose sight of your progress. You forget the small wins. You forget the days you showed up when you didn't feel like it. And those are the days that count the most. Those are the days that shape you. But you'll only remember them if you write them down. Now I know some people will say, but I already know what I need to do. I don't need to write it down. Well, if that were true, wouldn't you already have everything you want? If knowing was enough, we'd all have everything figured out. But knowing is not enough. You have to see it. You have to measure it. You have to remind yourself. Otherwise, you'll drift. You'll lose focus. You'll forget. The act of writing it down makes it real. It makes it stick. It keeps you awake and alert to what you're doing. And when you do it long enough, you'll be surprised how far you'll go. You'll look back after 6 months or a year, and you'll say, I can't believe how much I've changed. And you won't be saying it because you feel it. You'll be saying it because you'll have the proof right there in front of you. And if you ever want to help someone else, if you ever want to teach someone how to do better, there's nothing more valuable than your own record. You can show them step by step how you did it. You can say, this is where I started. These are the changes I made.
These are the days I struggled. These are the days I won. And that will inspire them more than anything you could ever say. It's not just about you. It's about being the kind of person who others can look at and say, if they did it, I can do it too. And you can only do that if you take the time to track your journey. Don't rob yourself of that power. Every great achievement is built on small actions, repeated over time. But you'll only see those small actions add up if you track them, if you respect them enough to write them down. It's the discipline of tracking that creates the motivation, not the other way around. Don't wait until you feel motivated to do it. Just start, just begin, and you'll find that motivation comes after the action, not before. So today, make up your mind, get a notebook or open a file on your computer, and begin. Write down what you did. Write down how you felt about it. Write down what you learned. And tomorrow, do it again. And the next day again. And soon you'll have a story worth telling. A story that's real. A story you'll be proud of. When you can look back and say, I did it day after day, even when I didn't feel like it. That's when you'll find your self-respect. That's when you'll feel strong inside. That's when you'll know you've really changed. Not because someone told you, but because you've lived it. And you've got it written down. You've got the proof. And you'll never want to go back to guessing again.
Number 7, cut out excuses and take full responsibility today. One of the most important decisions you will ever make is the decision to stop making excuses and take full responsibility for your life. It's not a small thing. It's not something you take lightly. It's a turning point. And once you do it, you will never see yourself the same way again. I've seen people blame everything. They blame the government. They blame their parents. They blame the weather. They blame their friends. They blame their health. They blame their luck. They blame the economy. They have a long list, and they carry that list with them everywhere they go. But what they don't realize is that every time they make another excuse, they make themselves weaker. Every time they shift the blame, they give away a piece of their own power. Now, I'm not saying life hasn't been unfair to you. I'm not saying you haven't had it tough. You probably have. Most people have. I've had my share too. But here's the truth. Excuses don't change anything. Excuses don't fix the past. Excuses don't make you stronger. Excuses only trap you where you are. You see, every time you say it's someone else's fault, you're saying you're helpless. You're saying you have no control. And the more you say it, the more you believe it. I remember when I first figured this out. I was broke. I was behind on the rent. I was struggling just to get by. And I had every excuse you could imagine. I blamed the government. I blamed taxes. I blamed the company I worked for. I blamed my boss. I blamed inflation. I blamed everything but myself. And you know what? None of it helped. My life didn't change until I said, this is my fault. Not because it actually was, but because I needed to take control. I needed to stop looking out the window and start looking in the mirror. And I'll tell you, it wasn't easy. It's tough to swallow the idea that you've been standing in your own way. It's tough to realize that the reason you're not where you want to be isn't just because of what's out there, but because of what's in here. But once you do it, once you accept it, something incredible happens. You realize you don't have to wait for the government to change. You don't have to wait for the weather to be better. You don't have to wait for the company to treat you better. You can start now. You can start today. Taking responsibility is the first step to freedom. It's the first step to power. Because the moment you say, I am responsible, you're saying, I have the ability to respond. And if you have the ability to respond, you have the ability to change. Most people wait. They wait for things to get easier. They wait for someone to rescue them. They wait for their big break. But I've learned that waiting is a trap. Time goes by. Nothing happens. And you wake up one day and realize you've wasted years waiting. Don't do that to yourself. Don't put your life on hold, hoping that circumstances will suddenly favor you. Decide today that you are responsible. And once you do, you'll start to see options you couldn't see before. I've watched people transform just by making this one decision. I've seen people who were stuck for years, suddenly come alive. Their face changes. Their voice changes. The way they walk changes. Because they stopped saying it's not my fault, and they started saying I'm in charge now. And when you take charge, you can start doing the little things that make the big difference. Maybe you've got some bad habits. Maybe you've been putting things off. Maybe you've been blaming people who don't even know you're blaming them. Maybe you've convinced yourself that someone else needs to change before you can move forward. I want you to consider something. What if it's you who needs to change? What if instead of waiting for the world to get better, you got better? What if you took full responsibility today? It's not about guilt. It's not about feeling bad. It's about waking up. It's about realizing that you have the power to do something about it. You don't have to be perfect. You don't have to have all the answers. You just have to own it. I'll never forget the feeling I had when I said enough is enough. I'm done making excuses. It was scary. It was uncomfortable. But it was also the most freeing thing I'd ever done. Suddenly I didn't have to wait for anyone. Suddenly I didn't have to explain my situation to anyone. I just got to work. I started making changes. Small ones at first. But as I kept going, the changes got bigger. The results got better. And the best part, I could take credit for it. Because I did it. Not luck. Not someone bailing me out. Me, you can have that feeling too. You can have that moment where you take your life back. Where you say, no more excuses. And when you do, the world looks different. Suddenly you're not the victim of circumstances. You're the creator of your circumstances. It's not easy. Taking responsibility means you have to be honest with yourself. It means you have to admit where you've been slacking. It means you have to admit where you've made poor choices. But it's worth it. Because once you do, you can start making better choices. You don't have to fix everything today. You don't have to solve every problem by midnight. All you have to do is start by saying, I'm responsible. And from there you start making small corrections. And small corrections, done consistently, create big results. You know, I've seen people who have gone through things you wouldn't believe. Painful things, unfair things. And yet somehow they managed to rise above it. How did they do it? They took responsibility. Not for what happened to them, but for what happened next. They didn't let their past decide their future. They took control. And so can you. You don't have to keep waiting. You don't have to keep hoping someone else will make it better. You have everything you need already inside you. You just have to use it. The question is, will you? I hope you will. Because when you do, life opens up. You start to notice opportunities you didn't see before. You start to believe in yourself. You stop worrying so much about what's not working. And you focus on what you can fix. And that shift is everything. I meet people all the time who are stuck. They want to move forward, but they can't seem to break free. And when I talk to them, it always comes down to the same thing. Excuses. They have a long list of reasons why they can't. And I understand, life gets complicated. Things don't always go your way. But as long as you hold on to those excuses, you'll stay right where you are. And here's something to think about. Even if your excuses are true, they don't help you. Even if it's true that someone treated you unfairly, or you didn't have the same advantages as others, what good does it do you to keep telling that story? It doesn't move you forward. It just keeps you stuck. But when you say, I'm going to take full responsibility anyway, that's when you start making progress. Responsibility is not about blame. It's about ownership. It's about saying, this is my life, and I'm going to make the most of it. And the people who make the most of life are the ones who take it seriously. They don't wait for perfect conditions. They don't wait for someone to hand them a better deal. They work with what they have. They start where they are. And because they take responsibility, they grow stronger every single day. I wish I could tell you there's another way. I wish I could tell you there's a shortcut. But there isn't. If you want things to change, you have to change. If you want life to get better, you have to get better. And it all starts by cutting out the excuses and saying, I'm responsible. You'll sleep better at night when you know you've done all you can. You'll stand taller when you know you're not waiting for someone else to rescue you.
You'll speak with more confidence when you know you're in charge of your own life. And if you do this, not just once but every day, if you wake up every morning and remind yourself, I'm responsible, you will become unstoppable. You won't need someone to push you. You won't need constant motivation from the outside. You'll have it inside. And that's the kind of motivation that lasts. The only thing standing between you and a better life is the list of excuses you've been carrying. And you don't have to carry it one more day. You can set it down today. You can walk away from it. And when you do, you will be amazed how light you feel, how free you feel, how much more you believe in yourself. So start today. Don't wait, don't put it off. You've waited long enough. Take responsibility. Own it all. The good, the bad, the mistakes, the victories. It's your story. And if you take full responsibility for it, you get to write the ending. You get to decide where you go from here. And there is no better feeling than that. Because once you cut out the excuses, you will find that you were capable all along.
Number 8. Surround yourself with people who keep you accountable. One of the biggest lessons I ever learned is how much the people you spend time with shape your life. It's easy to overlook. It's easy to think you can handle everything on your own. But no matter how strong you are, no matter how determined you think you are, who you surround yourself with will either push you forward or hold you back. You see, human beings are influenced creatures. We pick up the attitudes, the habits, the language, the energy of the people around us without even realizing it. If you spend enough time with people who slack off, you'll start to slack off. If you spend enough time with people who complain, you'll start complaining too. But if you spend time with people who are serious, people who are determined, people who hold you to a higher standard, you'll rise to it. I remember when I was young, I used to hang around with people who weren't going anywhere. Good people, but they had no ambition. They had no plan. They talked about what they used to do. They complained about what they didn't have. They blamed everybody but themselves. And every time I spent time with them, I felt comfortable. I felt like I fit right in. But I wasn't growing. I wasn't moving forward. I wasn't becoming the person I wanted to be. And I'll tell you, it wasn't until someone pointed it out to me that I realized what was happening. I thought my problem was the economy. I thought it was bad luck. I thought it was the system. But the real problem was that I was spending too much time with the wrong people. It hurt a little to realize that it's not easy to accept that sometimes the people you love, the people you've known for years, the people who mean well, can also be the ones holding you back. But it's true. And until you face it, nothing changes. But once you see it, you can do something about it. I had to make some changes. I had to step away. Not because I didn't care about them, but because I cared about myself. I had to find people who would challenge me, people who would push me, people who wouldn't accept my excuses. You need people around you who make you better. You need people who will tell you the truth, not in a harsh way, but in a loving way. You need people who will say, you're better than this. You can do more, and you need them not just once, but over and over again. Because life has a way of pulling you back. Life has distractions. It has temptations. It has comfortable traps. And if you don't have people reminding you of who you're trying to become, you'll forget. I remember the first time I got around people who were serious about their lives. It was uncomfortable. They talked about things I wasn't used to hearing. They talked about discipline. They talked about setting goals. They talked about sacrifice. They talked about working when they didn't feel like it. And at first I felt out of place. I felt behind. But I also felt inspired. I wanted what they had. Not just the results, but the mindset, the responsibility, the pride they had in themselves. And that's the thing about accountability. It's not about someone controlling you. It's about someone caring enough to hold you to your own word. It's about someone saying, if you said you're going to do it, then do it. It's about having people who don't let you slide, who don't let you quit just because you don't feel like it today, who remind you why you started. And it works both ways. When you surround yourself with people who hold you accountable, you also become someone who holds others accountable. And that's when you start building something powerful. A circle. A circle of people who push each other, who challenge each other, who celebrate each other's victories, who won't let each other settle for less. Think about how powerful that is. To have people in your life who won't let you forget your potential. People who don't let you drift. People who won't sit quietly while you waste your time. We all need that. Because no matter how motivated you think you are, there will be days when you want to give up. There will be days when you want to take the easy way out. And if you don't have people who keep you honest, you'll take it. But if you have people who say, "No, we don't quit around here," you'll keep going. And that makes all the difference. I've watched it happen over and over again. I've seen people change just by changing the people they spend time with. I've seen people who were stuck for years suddenly make progress, simply because they got around the right people. It's not magic. It's just influence. When you see someone close to you doing the work, you start to believe you can too. When you see someone pushing through hard times, you get the strength to push through yours. When you have people who expect more from you, you start expecting more from yourself. Now, I'm not saying you have to cut everyone out of your life. I'm not saying you have to abandon people who care about you. But I am saying you need to be careful. You need to pay attention to who's influencing you the most. Are they pushing you forward or pulling you back? Are they making you better or making you comfortable? Are they challenging you or enabling you to stay the same? It's okay to love people from a distance if you need to. It's okay to limit your time with people who don't want to grow, because this is your life. This is your future. And you can't afford to waste it trying to please people who aren't on the same path. You'll know you found the right people when you feel challenged, but also encouraged. When you feel stretched, but also supported. When you're not just talking about your dreams, but actually working on them, because the people around you expect you to. When you can't get away with excuses because someone's watching, someone's checking on you, someone's holding you to what you said you wanted. That's when you know you've found your accountability circle. And you don't need a lot of people, just a few. Even one or two who really care about your growth can make all the difference. The key is that they're serious. They're committed. They're honest. They want the best for you. And they're willing to hold you to it, even when it's uncomfortable. And you have to be willing to receive it. That's the other side of it. You have to be open to it. You have to want it. Because the truth is, some people don't want accountability. They want comfort. They want someone to tell them it's okay to skip the hard stuff. But that's not what's going to get you where you want to go. If you're serious about your goals, you have to invite accountability into your life. You have to say, I want people who will challenge me. I want people who will call me out when I'm slipping. I want people who won't let me quit. And when you do that, you'll start to see progress like you've never seen before. You'll notice you're doing things you used to put off. You'll notice you're making better choices. You'll notice you're showing up, not just for others but for yourself. Because when you know someone is watching, when you know someone is going to ask, when you know someone is going to hold you to it, you show up differently. And you deserve that. You deserve to have people in your life who care enough to hold you accountable. You deserve to have people who won't let you settle. You deserve to have people who will help you become the best version of yourself. So start looking around. Who's in your circle? Who are you spending the most time with? Are they helping you grow? Or are they helping you stay the same? And if you don't have those people yet, go find them. Look for people who are serious about their lives. Look for people who are committed to their goals. Look for people who have character, who have integrity, who don't just talk about it but live it. And when you find them, don't be afraid to ask for help. Don't be afraid to say, I need someone to hold me to my word. It's not a weakness, it's a strength. It's a sign that you're serious, that you're ready to do what it takes. And if you stay consistent, if you keep showing up, if you keep allowing yourself to be held accountable, you will change. You will get stronger. You will get better. And you'll start to see the kind of life you always wanted. Not because it was handed to you, but because you earned it. Day by day, step by step, with the help of people who refuse to let you give up. That's the power of accountability. That's the power of surrounding yourself with the right people. It's not always easy, but it's always worth it.
Number 9. Celebrate small wins daily to fuel your motivation.
So many people wait for the big victories. They wait for the big moments, the major milestones, the huge successes to come along before they allow themselves to feel accomplished, before they allow themselves to feel good about their progress. And let me tell you, that's a mistake. If you're always waiting for the big wins, you'll miss the small victories that matter most. Every single day, you accomplish something. Whether it's a small task, a small goal, or just taking one step forward, you're winning. But too often, we overlook those small wins. We brush them aside, telling ourselves, that's not enough. That's too small. It doesn't count. But let me tell you, those small wins are everything. They're the foundation. They're the momentum. And if you don't celebrate them, if you don't recognize them, you'll lose your drive. You'll lose your motivation. Think about it. You wake up every day and you've got a list of things you need to do. You've got goals. You've got dreams. You've got things you want to achieve. But how do you feel at the end of the day when you've made some progress? Do you recognize it? Do you give yourself credit for what you've accomplished? Or do you just jump right to the next thing on the list and forget about the victories you've already had? You see, celebrating small wins is not just about feeling good in the moment. It's about creating momentum. It's about fueling your motivation. Because when you recognize the progress you've made, no matter how small, you get a little spark of energy. You get a little boost. And that boost keeps you going. It gives you the fuel to keep moving forward. Here's the thing about success. It's not a straight line. It's not just a matter of working hard for a few weeks, then all of a sudden, you get to the top. It's not about that one big moment of success. Success is a collection of small moments, small actions, and small wins that build up over time. It's a process. It's a journey. And if you can celebrate the small victories along the way, you'll stay motivated, you'll stay engaged, and you'll stay on the path to your bigger goals. Now, I know some of you might be thinking, Jim, these small wins don't matter. I'm after something bigger. I want the big results. I want to change my life. I want the money, the recognition, the freedom. That's what matters. And I get it. You're ambitious. You're driven. You want more for your life, and you should. But if you only focus on the big wins, if you only celebrate the major accomplishments, you're going to burn out. You're going to lose sight of the journey. And before you know it, you'll be exhausted, frustrated, and questioning whether it's even worth it. That's why celebrating small wins is so important. It's a way to keep your energy up. It's a way to remind yourself that you're making progress, even when it feels like you're not. It's a way to show yourself that you're moving forward, even when the big results aren't here yet. And trust me, if you can celebrate those small wins, you'll get closer to those big wins faster than you think. Let's break it down. Every day, you're doing something. Maybe you're waking up earlier than usual. Maybe you're sticking to your schedule. Maybe you're finishing a task you've been putting off. Maybe you're learning something new. Those are small wins. Those are victories. And even though they might not seem like much in the moment, they count. Because the more you recognize those small wins, the more you'll want to keep going. Think about it like this. You've got a goal, right? Let's say it's a big goal, something that's going to take time, effort, and persistence to achieve. If you're only focusing on the end result, you're going to feel overwhelmed. You're going to feel like it's too far away, like you're not getting anywhere. But if you start celebrating the small steps you're taking, you start to feel like you're making progress. You start to feel like you're actually moving toward that goal, even if you haven't hit it yet. And that's the secret to staying motivated. It's not about waiting for the big win. It's about recognizing and celebrating every step along the way. Every small win gets you one step closer to the big one. Every time you show up, every time you do the work, every time you take action, that's a small win. And when you acknowledge it, when you celebrate it, it creates a sense of accomplishment. And that sense of accomplishment builds confidence. And that confidence keeps you going. Now, I know there are some of you who might be thinking, well, Jim, what if my small win isn't enough? What if I'm not doing enough? And I hear you. It's easy to feel like you're not doing enough, especially when you're looking at other people who seem to be achieving more. But I want you to stop comparing yourself to others. Your journey is your own, and every small win you have is progress. It's moving you forward. It's building your momentum. Don't let the big goals overshadow the small victories. Celebrate them, because every small win is a piece of the bigger picture. I remember when I was starting out, I used to focus so much on the end goal. I thought that once I reached the big success, then everything would be okay. But it wasn't until I started celebrating the small wins that things really started to shift for me. I started to feel like I was on track. I started to feel like I was making progress, even when the big wins weren't there yet. And that made all the difference. It helped me stay focused. It helped me stay motivated. And most importantly, it helped me stay patient. Patience is key. Success doesn't happen overnight. It's a long game. But when you celebrate the small wins, you build the patience to stick with it. You start to enjoy the process, because you know that every step you take is getting you closer to where you want to be. And that's where the real power is. It's not just in the destination. It's in the journey. It's in the small steps. It's in the daily wins. And guess what? The more you celebrate those small wins, the more you'll start to believe in yourself. The more you'll start to realize that you're capable of achieving great things. Because those small wins aren't just accomplishments. They're evidence. They're proof that you have what it takes. They're proof that you can do hard things. They're proof that you can keep going. And when you see that, when you recognize that, it gives you the strength to push through the tough times. There will be days when things aren't going your way. There will be days when you feel stuck, when you feel like you're not making any progress. But on those days, it's even more important to recognize the small wins, because those small wins are the ones that will keep you going. Those are the moments that will remind you that you are making progress, that you are moving forward, that you are on the right path. So how do you start celebrating small wins? It's simple. Every day, take a moment to reflect on what you've accomplished. It doesn't matter how small it seems. Maybe you finished a task on your to-do list. Maybe you made it to the gym. Maybe you had a productive conversation. Whatever it is, take a moment to recognize it. Give yourself credit for it. Acknowledge it, and then keep going. Because when you start doing this, you start to build a habit. You start to see the value in your own progress. You start to see that you are moving forward, and that makes all the difference. In fact, the more you celebrate those small wins, the more you'll want to keep achieving them. You'll get addicted to the feeling of progress. You'll start to look for ways to win even in the smallest ways. And that's when you start to gain momentum. That's when things really start to take off. Because motivation is a muscle. The more you flex it, the stronger it gets. The more you celebrate those wins, the more motivated you become. And that motivation will carry you through the tough times, the slow times, and the challenging times. So don't wait for the big wins. Start celebrating the small wins today, because those small wins will lead to the big wins. They will fuel your motivation. They will keep you moving forward, and they will help you achieve everything you want in life. So start today. Celebrate every small victory and watch how far it takes you.
Number 10. Stick to the plan even when you do not feel like there will be days when you won't feel like sticking to the plan. You won't feel motivated. You won't feel energized. You'll wake up tired, maybe frustrated, maybe even discouraged. Those days are real. They happen to all of us. But here's the thing. Sticking to the plan on those days when you don't feel like it is exactly what separates those who achieve success from those who don't. Success isn't built on the days when everything is easy, when you're motivated, when the sun is shining, and everything is going your way. Success is built on the days when things get tough. It's built on the days when you don't feel like getting out of bed. It's built on the days when you're faced with resistance, and you push through it. Now let's talk about something we all know deep down inside: discipline. Discipline is about doing what needs to be done, even when you don't want to do it. It's about sticking to the plan, not just when it's easy, but when it's hard. And I'll tell you right now, it's the people who are willing to do that, who are willing to show up and do the work even when they don't feel like it, that are the ones who eventually see their dreams come true. They are the ones who build the habits that lead to success. You have a plan, you've set goals, you've made a commitment to yourself. And here's the reality. There will come a time when you'll question that plan. You'll doubt yourself. You'll wonder if it's worth it. And that's normal. You're human. But you have to remember this. Success is not about what you feel. It's about what you do. It's about making the decision to keep going, even when the emotions aren't on your side.
Because if you wait for motivation to show up, if you wait until you feel like doing something, you'll never get anything done. Motivation comes and goes, but discipline is what gets you through the hard days. You have to ask yourself, am I willing to put in the work even when it's uncomfortable? Am I willing to stick to my plan even when every part of me says not today? And that's where the real change happens. It's in that moment when you choose to act, despite what your feelings are telling you. Because those feelings, they're temporary. The results of your actions, they last. Now I know what you might be thinking, but Jim, sometimes I just don't feel like it. Sometimes I get overwhelmed. Sometimes the world feels like it's weighing me down. I hear you. We all go through it. But here's the thing. No one ever accomplished anything worthwhile by doing what was easy. No one ever achieved their dreams by waiting for the perfect moment. The successful people, the ones who get things done, they do it even when they don't feel like it. They do it because they understand that consistency matters more than motivation. Consistency builds habits, and habits build success. Let's take a moment to break this down. You make a plan. It could be anything. Maybe it's a fitness goal. Maybe it's building a business. Maybe it's personal development. The plan is set, and you're ready to go. But then reality hits. You wake up tired. You feel lazy. You don't feel like following through. And in that moment, you have a choice. You can either follow through on your plan, or let your feelings dictate your actions. If you choose to follow through even when it's hard, you're building something powerful. You're building discipline. You're building the habit of following through. And let me tell you, success is nothing more than a collection of small, consistent actions that add up over time. It's the work you do on the days when you don't feel like it that leads to the results you want. I can't stress this enough. Success isn't about doing everything perfectly. It's not about having everything go according to plan every single day. It's about making progress, even when it's slow. It's about showing up, doing the work, and sticking to the plan, even when it's hard. Because when you do that, you're making progress. And progress, no matter how small, is what counts. Think about your goals. What are they? What is it that you truly want? The reality is, you can't get there without sticking to the plan. You can't get there by giving up when it's tough. The only way to achieve your goals is to keep showing up, even when the motivation isn't there. And that's where most people fall short. They start strong. They make plans. They get excited. But when the hard days come, they quit. They don't stick to the plan. They let their feelings decide their actions. But you're different. You have what it takes to push through. You have the discipline to keep going, even when you don't feel like it. And here's the thing. The more you do this, the easier it gets. The more you stick to the plan, the more natural it becomes to keep going, even when you don't feel like it. Because you've trained yourself to show up, to do the work, to stay committed, and eventually the plan becomes part of who you are. It becomes your routine. It becomes your life. So how do you stick to the plan when you don't feel like it? It starts with commitment. When you make a commitment to yourself, you're telling yourself that no matter what, you're going to follow through. You're going to do the work, even when the emotions aren't in your favor. You're going to do it anyway. Because the long-term benefits of sticking to the plan far outweigh the short-term discomforts. Another important piece of this puzzle is accountability. Find someone who will hold you accountable. Whether it's a mentor, a friend, or a coach, having someone who expects you to follow through makes a big difference. When you know someone is counting on you, it's harder to back out. It gives you that extra push, that extra reason to show up, even when you don't feel like it. But let's not overlook the importance of mindset. How you think about the situation matters. If you view sticking to the plan as a burden, something that's hard and uncomfortable, then it will be. But if you view it as a commitment to your future, as an opportunity to build something great, then it becomes easier. You have to change the way you look at the work you're doing. Instead of seeing it as a chore, see it as a step toward your goals. See it as an investment in yourself. And when you finally reach your goals, when you've stuck to the plan and seen the results, it will all be worth it. You'll look back and realize that the days when you didn't feel like it were the days that mattered most. Those were the days that built your character. Those were the days that proved you had what it takes. And when you realize that, you'll know that sticking to the plan, No matter what was the best decision you ever made. So here's the challenge. The next time you don't feel like following through on your plan, remember this: your feelings will come and go, but your commitment to your goals should never waver. Stick to the plan, even when you don't feel like it. Show up, do the work, and keep pushing forward. Because the people who succeed are the ones who stick to the plan, no matter what, and that can be you. You just have to decide.